Cool. We ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the 4-Point Play. This is Sammy, French guy living in Melbourne. On the line, we have Alberto, Italian, living in the Philippines. We are two mates. We met in Melbourne. Every week, we discuss 3
and 1.
Gee, you were late on that one. 3 and 1 NBA topics. And, well, it's a pleasure to have you again online, Alberto. I think that a few things happened this weekend. Obviously, I think there was some sort of competition between like the best players of all time in the NBA, and they kind of passed the ball to each other and kind of put it in the basket. And sometimes you can call it basketball, but most of the time you can just call it, just basically an exhibition and a slam dunk contest for 3 days, non-stop. How did you like the All-Star game?
Well, first of all, I apologize for my late N1, but I was still sleeping. I was still a bit asleep after watching the All-Star game. Boom!
Boring. Yeah,
Boring.
it was.
Man.
I mean, I've heard a lot of suggestions as to how to make it better, how to make it a better event, and how to bring the competition back into it. And I don't know, man. I feel like as long as the guys, don't want to risk an injury, and there are no stakes to this ball game, I don't think they'll go at it. There is more competition when they play casual in summer, in their small gym tournament with Hoodie Melo and KD, Beast Mode, and LeBron, etc. Do you have any ideas how to make it more interesting?
Hang on, is this part of the? Is it
no.
One of your topics?
Kind of. Well, I think my first topic and the first thing that I wanted to discuss was the All-Star Game weekend a little bit, just to do a brief recap, talking as well about your best moment. But yeah, just I guess off the cuff, is there anything that you think we could do to improve?
No, there's way too much stuff going on around the NBA as a business. Okay, if you're LeBron, you don't even want to try, or even think about Kevin Durant and Giannis' massive dunk where he went up to the sky. If you're playing an actual game, you might actually make an effort to get that ball. If you're playing the All-Star game, you don't. Why? Because you're risking to get on a poster, a massive poster in front of millions and millions and millions of NBA fans, and your brand is going to be affected. So that's not going to happen, at least in the first 3 quarters or 2 quarters and 6-7 minutes. Because I think I texted you, it was 3 minutes in the 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and that's when the players actually started putting some effort.
Yeah, I look at that.
But to answer your question, in my point of view, there's not much you can do. Even if you put like USA versus the rest of the world, first of all, because USA is going to smash the other team, and secondly, because, dude, let's be realistic. Like it's tough. It's tough when there is so much on the line. Just think about Anthony Davis. It's an All-Star game. There's millions of fans out there, and you play 5 minutes.
Played 5 minutes. Played 5 minutes.
There's quite a few dunks where LeBron is on the way and he just doesn't even jump. And I'm like, oh, dude, you could have blocked that one. But it's like, yeah, you have your brand. There's so much. There's a story behind you. There's so much business going around the NBA that they're just gonna keep it easy. And I was thinking, oh, maybe 20 years ago, they weren't just having fun. They were just going to the All-Star game to play the All-Star game. No way. Like, they were going out. They were friends outside of the basketball court, obviously.
Yeah.
Just way too much business behind it, dude.
I don't know how they're gonna get around it. I think you have to find a way to bring the competitive edge into it for any way, if that's what the NBA wants. Maybe they just don't want it. Maybe they just want this to be an exhibition game and just a collection of stars in the weekend. I was actually very, very surprised to hear that I don't know if you know that, but the price is to get into the All-Star Game weekend, which is sold as a package, is actually almost as expensive, if not more, than going to the NBA Finals. And I was like,
Why are you
what?
surprised?
Well, I'm just surprised because the quality of the game is just not there. Yeah, great. You can see, you can see 25 stars or 30 NBA stars, but really, I'd rather just pay for like a season pass with, the Brooklyn Nets and just go when the Warriors come, and then when the Lakers come, and then when the Pelicans come, and I can see all the stars, and I can actually see competitive games every day, or every second day or so.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But at the same time, if you think about it, if you live in Charlotte or if you live in New Orleans, how many playoff games are you going to watch? And you can actually optimize your investment because you don't have to pay for the flight. And you
Yeah,
got
fair
the
enough.
best 24 players in the world. There's a lot of entertainment behind it and around it. I mean, I wouldn't go to an All-Star game over an NBA Finals, but hey, it
Yeah,
really depends
yeah.
on who you
I
are.
think I think you don't go there for the NBA. You go there for the I guess the star, the NBA stars, if you like, not necessarily for the game in itself. Anyway, just a brief recap and kind of my first question after we
Okay.
spoke too much about the All-Star game. What was your favorite moment out of all the All-Star game? Is there one thing which you will remember from 2018?
For me personally, how for the first time I actually said, yeah, Kevin Durant is the MVP. He deserves to be the MVP. I'm not big fan. I'm not a big fan, and I would have preferred Steph Curry to win, especially last year. I don't think that Kevin Durant deserved the Finals MVP. But this year, he literally got the team on his shoulders. He was amazing. He was amazing. Obviously, he got the help of LeBron and Lillard, but KD really deserved the MVP. I really like Jokic making fun of LeBron, and I
Can you
also
tell us about that play, because I don't know if everyone has seen that play, but can you just describe what happened between
well, pretty
Jokic and
much
LeBron?
Jokic and LeBron went for the rebound. Jokic got the rebound, and at the time LeBron was out of bounds. So just Jokic got the rebound, and he pretty much handed LeBron the ball. Like, hey, do you want it? There you go, but you're out of bounds, so that's it. So that was pretty funny, especially coming from a guy from Yugoslavia on LeBron James. And dude, honestly, I don't understand how Nikola Jokic is so dominant. I don't understand it.
He
He,
doesn't look
he
like it.
doesn't
Yeah,
know how to run. He doesn't know how to run. He's not athletic at all. He's got great vision. But hey, this is 2019. This is not 1994. It's
absolutely.
crazy to me. It's crazy when he runs. He's like this big goofy guy. It looks like me when I was 13. And I was growing. It's crazy. But hey, great
Yeah,
player.
it's absolutely, it's amazing what he still can achieve despite his, I guess, his athleticism. I would have been that play was really funny, and I would have loved for the NBA to say, "Hold on, video replay to know who got
Yeah.
the ball out," because you couldn't really say, because LeBron was out of bounds obviously, and Jokic literally handed him the ball. But that was really fun. I think that the one thing which will stick for me, I've I've always liked seeing good NBA dunks, and the dunk from Diallo over Shaq will certainly be, I think, the highlight that I will remember. I One of the things which I particularly loved at was the interview that Anthony Davis gave about his so-called list, and there's no NBA list, and yes, there is a list, and 29 teams are on that list. And the fact that he got stuck into talking about his free agency, when clearly I don't think that was, I mean, he should have been prepared that this topic was going to come, and just handle it much better. I'm more and more disappointed by him and how he's handled this
Really,
situation. I
really
know,
bad brand management, dude.
absolutely.
Really
I
bad.
mean, I know his intentions and what he wanted to do, But unfortunately for him, I think he's going to be seen or perceived as a little bit like when KD left OKC, and as the villain wherever he goes, someone who quits on his team and didn't believe in his teammates, etc. A bit unfortunate, but the interview was very fun. So
let me let me
that was
quickly disagree with you. No one ever is going to be like KD. Okay,
You think?
you're about to get to your second NBA Finals. You're the underdogs. You're beating the Golden State Warriors, who just got 73 wins in a season. You're 3-1. You blow it, and then 20 days later, you announce you're gonna join this team. After you, yeah, dude, nothing is going to be like KD to the Warriors. Anthony Davis, he plays in such a small market. He doesn't have any really good teammate. Obviously, Drew is one of them, but he doesn't have like a top 5 or 10 NBA player as a teammate, and he never got to not even to the Western Conference Finals. So nothing comparable to that.
What if he joins the Warriors over the summer?
That's fine. It's never gonna be like KD. Never. Nothing is ever going to be like KD. And sorry if I'm going to add 2 more episodes. Very happy for Chris Middleton. Hitting the first 3 threes as soon as you walked into the court. And dude, yeah. I don't think I ever desired and wished for one shot to get in as for Dirk's first shot. I was so happy. First of all, obviously he also made the second one, and there were 2 rainbow 3-pointers. It looked
just like in his 3-point contest.
Yeah, it took like 6 or 7 seconds from the moment he actually released the ball to the moment the ball went in. And again, sorry, 3rd episode, it was very interesting to have a look at the 3-point contest because of the different shooting techniques. I'm not sure if you realize, but Danny Green actually didn't jump as high as he usually jumps, probably because he was concerned about the 60 seconds. And it was very interesting to have a look at the different shooting techniques, and especially the one from Glenn Rice, who apparently, according to Reggie Miller, this guy's eaten a shooter. That was so bad, dude.
That would be my second thing. I really enjoyed seeing Glenn Rice walk on the court. Actually, I was really pleased. I don't know. It brought back a lot of memories of this 3-point shooter, who was really one of the first guy who kind of modernized a little bit to me the 3-point shot back then. At least in my eyes as a child. Okay, cool. Let's move on to our second topic and focus a little bit more on the NBA, which comes back in a few days. So we'll have to wait patiently for the next NBA game, probably watch some highlights in the meantime, some old games. But I want you to talk about one of the teams which we haven't really spoken about so far. And I'm a little bit puzzled as to what they're going to do. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're currently sitting, let me get that, 11 in the standings. Not great, probably sliding slowly and surely since the trade of Butler. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're not far, but I don't think they're just there. And they're... how do you call it? Their cap situation, their financial situation for next year is not looking great. Obviously, they have Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns signed to max contracts for the foreseeable future. Next year, they also have Jeff Teague, who has a player extension at $19,000. Saric, who is still on a friendly contract, but Derrick Rose is free agent. Taj Gibson is free agent. Covington is still on a nice contract as well. And basically everyone else is not there. And yet their payroll is already at 100 million, meaning they probably have about less than 18 million in cap space for next year. Where are they going? What do you think they're going to do? Do you actually think they have a chance to make the playoffs this year? And yeah, what is the path to them to being relevant again? This all started from the fact that the Timberwolves is actually one of the first teams that I saw an NBA game live when Kevin Garnett was still playing there. And kind of the team that I follow as well. Not necessarily a fan, but, Wally Szczerbiak, Garnett, and all these guys I remember and I've been a fan of. And I love wolves. It's my favorite animal as well. Did you know that?
So, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I remember when the Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers. I think they lost in six. That Anthony Piller, Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell, Irving Johnson, Derek Martin. So and KG was amazing that year. So to go back to your question, Minnesota, they have the fifth toughest remaining schedule. Obviously, they're going to play the Warriors twice. They're going to play the Nuggets twice. But at the end of the day, they're only one game away from the Lakers. And the Lakers, they're also going to play the Warriors, the Nuggets, OKC, and the Bucks twice. So why not? Obviously, they made a really bad. I mean, it's not that they made a bad trade, but the Butler trade didn't work out for them. So they have,
So far, yeah.
yeah, they had to restart. Not even rebuilding, they had to restart. Now you restart from Carl Anthony Towns or Carl Anthony Davis, like Mark Albert said. Dude, seriously, 77. He should just retire. So you start again from Cat. You start from Wiggins, and you know what? You have 4 years of Wiggins, so that's a lot. 4 more years in
That's
addition
a
to
lot
this
at a
year.
high salary.
It's high. It's not. Yeah, it's high. It's like 33
Yeah,
million.
it's high.
Especially,
Yeah.
it's really high.
In 2 years, it's going to be hard to trade that.
What do you need? It's going to be impossible. What do you need to do? You need to get Cat to dominate, and you need to get Wiggins to elevate his game, and then you need to pray. Cat is going to do. Carl Anthony Towns is probably going to do what Anthony Davis just did in 2 or 3 years. Wiggins is going to stay there unless they're going to dump his contract. I don't know who to be honest. But you know what? They have a really interesting coach. I'm really
Yeah,
enjoying, Saunders, obviously the
yeah.
son of Philip Saunders. And as soon as they can get rid of some bad contracts, obviously not for Wiggins, but for other contracts like Jeff Teague as well. They drafted well because I really like Okoji. I think he spent 3 years in college, so he's kind of a more mature player than your usual rookie. You know what? I think they also have Gibson, Ty Gibson. Really like him, and so yeah, that's what I think. What do you think about the Timberwolves? Where do you see them actually fighting for the playoffs, or they don't care? They're just gonna tank.
Well, they've been a little bit unlucky because Covington, Bubkov got injured for a little while, and obviously I remember the first couple of games that they played with Covington and Saric, and a lot of people said, "Well, this is probably much better than having Jimmy Butler play one game every 2 games and kind of not carrying on defense and not really being fully invested in offense." So it'll be interesting to see when Bubkov comes back how their team fits and plays. I liked the trade at the time that they did it. I know it hasn't worked out so far, and I'm okay to give them a little bit more time. I just don't know if I see anyone with the superstar potential. And to be frank, I'm just not sure about Karl Anthony Towns. I know he's putting up numbers, and I know he can be dominant in the paint sometimes, but I have this feeling where it's just not going to work. I don't know. He should be, to me, on the same path as like someone. He doesn't have the build of a guy like Anthony Davis, who's just going to rampage through the league and destroy the defenses everywhere. He strikes me as maybe someone who's a little bit more skilled, has a little bit more potential, but he's not not as much potential as Davis, but has just a little bit more something in him that he's not exploiting so far. A little bit like when Tim Duncan joined, except that he's just not as skilled, and he doesn't know how to use these skills. So yes, he's putting up points and he's putting up rebounds, but I just don't find him effective. And I don't know if I want him to take the last shot in my team, if the game is on the line. It just doesn't strike me as a great player. like someone
Man,
who is really overrated to me.
you might be right, but you know what? Let's give it a chance next year. No Butler. He's going to be 23. Actually, he's going to be 24. So let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance. And you know something or someone I actually didn't mention earlier is Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones has played really well. He's a really nice playmaker. Mm, is he from Kentucky? Um, I think he's from Kentucky. He played really well, and the only thing is he's got Jeff Teague in front of him. And when you have a contract like Jeff Teague, it's tough. It's very tough to. Sorry, Duke, not Kentucky. My bad. Um,
Mm.
it's really bad to. It's really difficult to elevate your game. He did that when Jeff Teague was injured, and then when Jeff Teague got back, I think he got injured as well. But is someone that they definitely need to resign. And if you have a look at the T-Wolves situation, it's not too bad if you exclude obviously Wiggins, because next year they can get rid of Ty Gibson, they can get rid of Jared Bayless, who's like whoo, Lil Dang as well. And what they can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
is,
A lot of contracts are going to go,
and
certainly, and they'll have
17
a little bit
million
of
in
space. But
2020 as well.
yeah.
From seriously, they signed Gorgui Deng to a 4 year contract, dude, for
Yeah,
48 million. Well, that's bad.
they did it when the cap when there was the cap spike, you know,
Yeah,
and when they had a lot of money and every team was just signing whoever, and now they will regret it. But that's the way it is. The cap will increase again in the next few years, I'm sure. So this might work out. Okay, well, it's kind of as good a transition as any to my third topic, which is the big thing that we started to tackle last week, but not live. That was just after we finished our podcast, and I said, wait, we got to talk about it in real terms. The Los Angeles Lakers are currently sitting 10th in the playoff race in the West. They have one of the toughest schedule remaining for the year, for the rest of the year. They, I think you blew my mind with, I think, the number of games that they need to win to really have a chance to even make the playoffs. If you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can go with, to make the playoffs in the West, you need to have at least 44 wins, meaning
yeah,
that the Lakers, we need to go 16 wins and 9 losses in their final 25 games. Um, that's,
yeah.
yes, that is correct. When you look at their schedule, not only the strength of their schedule, but just the teams that they are playing, it is going to be really tough. I looked at the teams that they're playing, and I could only find about 12 games that they're supposed to win. Meaning that, you know, teams like Chicago, teams like Phoenix, I included the Clippers, their direct competition. I included Memphis, the Knicks, Brooklyn, Sacramento, another direct competition, Washington, Charlotte, etc. And I could only count 12 games. They need to get 4 games out of teams like Houston, um, Boston, Denver, the Utah, OKC, the Warriors, Utah again, Portland. Are the Lakers going to make the playoffs? Is LeBron James and his crew good enough to make the playoffs? What are your thoughts on this?
It's tough. It's very tough. It's going to be very tough for the Lakers, but they're going to make it for one reason, because you have LeBron James. And I don't care if they're playing the Bucks twice. I don't care, but I do care if they're playing, you know, the Raptors, the Warriors. Yes, but there's no.
Yes, yes.
Um, I mean, you know, against the Raptors and the Warriors, it's going to be a loss. But teams like the Bucks, teams like the Nuggets, even Oklahoma, to be completely honest, on a single game, the Lakers can beat anyone. The thing about the
I
Lakers is their defense is awful, and it hasn't improved. And obviously, um, the trade has had a big, massive impact on the young players, and I believe that this All-Star game break has been refreshing for the
let's
young
hope so.
talent. I think so. I believe so. But at the same time, dude, I think it would be one of the biggest surprises in NBA history.
Yeah, look, I really I have a hard time believing that they'll make the playoffs. I mean, apart from LeBron
Sorry,
and
sorry. You have
Rondo,
a hard time.
believing that they will make the playoffs. I just
Wow.
don't see it happening. I just don't see it
Wow.
happening, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry, Lakers fan. Sorry, myself. I just don't see it happening. Apart from LeBron and Rondo, this is going to be the hardest stretch of 25 games that this team is going to be on. And they have to rely on, well, an injured Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Ingram. I mean, guys who don't have any experience like that. They're used to, hey, it's February, cool, we can play with no pressure because we're tanking. Like I don't think they will understand what it takes to get there, even behind LeBron. And yes, I know, I agree with you that on any one game they can win any game. They can win any one game. The hard part will be to do that consistently
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And I just don't see it happening. I think it's just too many games to win, too many games
That,
for
that's
them
also
to make it.
why you also need to think about the competition. Who are they going to compete against? They're going to compete against the Clippers, who are going to play for that last spot. And by the way, we're not talking about the eighth seed only. Huh? We're talking about the seventh as well. Because
So
if
you want to
you,
include the Spurs as well?
I want to include the Spurs as well. I'm definitely going to include the Spurs. I'm not going to include the Jazz because I believe they have the second or no, the second easiest
No,
schedule.
they no they
Yeah,
have the
yes, Utah have the second easiest.
yes, sorry, second easiest, correct.
But you know what? The Clippers, they just traded their top player. Sacramento is just too inexperienced, and while
But
on
it's
one
this
side
but
they're
it's the
great,
same
on the
it's the
other
same as the
side,
Lakers.
yeah, but
They're
you
as
don't have
inexperienced as
LeBron
the
James,
Lakers.
dude. It's LeBron James. If
They
LeBron
have
James,
Harrison Barnes.
if LeBron James decides I'm gonna win this game, he's gonna win this game. Also, important thing, LeBron's fitness. How long is it gonna take
Yes,
him? I think LeBron actually accelerated his comeback. I think he should have
it's
rested
possible.
out. It's a groin injury. It's not easy, dude. It's not easy to recover from. So, in my point of view, you know what? It's gonna go down to the like you said, consistency. You are absolutely right. If you look at the Lakers, easiest 6 games: Suns, Knicks, Bulls, Memphis, Washington, Pelicans. They have to win those 6 games. Actually, 7 because they played the Pelicans twice, and it's gonna be fun and funny because obviously they might be playing Anthony Davis. But if you think
And
about
then
it,
they
hey,
need 11 more. And then they need 11 more out of that to possibly have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, and they just lost to Atlanta last week.
yes,
I
that's why
mean,
that's why I mentioned consistency, because I think that the Suns, the Knicks, the Bulls. Let's be honest, they're not gonna lose. But against teams like Memphis,
let's hope so.
it's a tough team with Mike Conley, with a really good rookie like Jaren Jackson, and also Washington. Washington might be pushing for that 8th seed, but at the end of the day, maybe they're not. But hey, they have Jabari Parker, they have Bradley Beal, they have a very nice team. Sorry, nice squad. The Lakers have to be consistent. You're right. In my point of view, the Lakers are either gonna blow it or they're gonna go 19 wins and 6 losses over the last 25 games, and they're gonna get number 6 or 7, probably number 7.
All right. Well, I don't see it happening. Let's see. Let's see who's right at the end of the season.
Okay, man. Fair
All
enough.
right. Cool. It's time for the N1 play of the day. What are you gonna shoot me with?
All right, dude. So let's fly from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference.
Finally.
Finally, yes. So I'm not even gonna talk about the Brooklyn Nets because I believe the Brooklyn Nets are going to make it. But let's talk about position number 7 and position number 8. So who's gonna get swept by the Bucks and the Raptors? Is it going to be the Hornets who are currently sitting in the 7th position? Is it going to be the Pistons or the Heat, who are currently half game away from the Hornets? Or is it going to be the Magic? The Magic, who are coming from like actually 5 consecutive wins.
Yeah.
If you want, we can actually include the Wizards as well, who are 3 games away from the Pistons. It's going to be exciting, as exciting as it can be. Hey, there you go, your 2 seeds to get swept by the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. But hey, at the end of the day, it's more experience. Kemba Walker definitely wants to make the playoffs, and him missing the playoffs would, in my point of view, mean that Kemba Walker is going to leave the Charlotte Hornets. You got the Pistons, where Blake Griffin, he didn't make the playoffs last year. He playing really well this year. He really wants to establish himself in Detroit. That's what he said. You got the Heat, the last dance of Dwayne Wade, or you got the Magic, who have been improving very much over the last couple of weeks, and they have a young core. Isaac is amazing, dude. I think he's gonna be one of the candidates for Defensive Player of the Year in 2 or 3 years. So, who's gonna make it? Who's gonna go fishing at the end of April?
Well, I think there are certainly multiple options that you can go with, and certainly multiple arguments for each team. I think it's going to be a very interesting race for that 8th seed and that 7th and the 7th seed. Probably, I would agree with you that I think the Nets are in. I think the top 6 is sorted. Milwaukee, Toronto, Indiana, Boston, Philly, Brooklyn. Not necessarily in that particular order. Although I must say I've been very impressed with the Pacers' recent streak since they lost Oladipo. They haven't skipped a bit, so they might stick to 3rd place. For the 7 and 8 seed, personally, I think the Magic have a real chance of finally making the playoffs after a very, very long drought. And I know you spoke about it today on Twitter as well. And I think for the second team, I'd probably go with the Hornets. I think Kemba has the potential to carry his
Hornets
team to the playoffs. Yeah,
they have the second toughest remaining schedule in the NBA, dude.
That's what makes it quite very interesting.
Okay.
I do believe in Kemba. He can certainly, I think, make his team win. I mean, Miami has been kind of on and off this year. They won games they were not supposed to win, and they lost games they were not supposed to lose. I just can't figure them out. I feel like Spoelstra has kind of lost control of the team, and what made the Heat so good around their discipline and how they were consistently playing with just a good game. I feel like the loss of Dragic has been a bigger hit to the team as what they were anticipating. I think Winslow had a nice run at point guard, but is currently kind of slumping. So I just don't know. I think the Pistons might push for that 8th seed, but between the Pistons and the Hornets, I'd go with who I believe would be the best player, and I'd take Kemba over that team.
Okay, but there are 2 spots. So
the Magic for the the Magic, or Orlando for the other one. Okay. Vucevic is on a tier.
I agree with you, but I would say Detroit gets number 8 and Orlando gets number 7. I'm going with Detroit because they have a very easy schedule in my point of view. And yes, that just for that reason, and because Griffin has been playing really well. Honestly, Charlotte, if you have a look at their remaining schedule, it's very tough. They play the Warriors twice, they play the Raptors twice, and Boston and Milwaukee. And they actually play Washington 3 times. So if you're Washington, you kind of use these 3 games to make the last final push to the 8th seed. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for Charlotte, in my point of view. It sucks because I really like Borrego. I really like Kemba Walker, even if I was slightly disappointed in his all-star performance. But I think Kemba is the kind of guy that doesn't really give a shit about the All Star game. He's just happy to be
Yes.
there.
No, I believe in Charlotte. I gotta go as well with my Frenchie Nick Batum. He's had a shit season so far, but I think he's gonna turn things around and suddenly become
Sorry,
the
what did you say? He's had a
uh,
couple of shit season or 3 shit seasons.
yeah. He's gonna turn it around and suddenly be worth all the money that is being paid.
All right,
Be
all right,
ready for that.
all right, man. All
And
right.
they have MJ at the head, man. They cannot not make the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to
Jordan is gonna come
say
back.
to add something very interesting. I was talking about Kemba Walker and his performance in the All Star game, and the interview to Damian Lillard. I'm not sure if you listened to it at the end. It was very interesting because
No.
he said, "Hey, Damian, it's not your first, it's not your second, it's not your third, it's your fourth All Star game. How what was different?" And he said, for the first time I actually finished the game, and in the first 3 All-Star games I believe like I was part of it, but finishing the All-Star game and being such a big part of the team LeBron
Comeback.
comeback, it was such a completely different experience for me that I truly appreciated it. I think he's ready to elevate his game even more. And dude, we always forget about the Blazers. To be honest, like 34 wins, 23 losses, almost 600, 60% wins. They're
Yeah.
only 3 games from the Thunder. What a great, couple or 3 seasons by last 3 seasons by Terry Stott, by this franchise. They're not gonna make it ever to the Western Conference Finals.
You
But
know my
hey,
take on this. They're a
yeah,
great
it
team.
just
I love the guy. I love Lillard, but
yeah.
Portland, what are you doing? You're still not relevant. Get something else so that you can actually, have a shot at the Western Conference Finals.
Okay. I know. Sorry, dude. I had to mention it.
All right, we have 4 days left before the game start again. I think until actually a few 3 days because it starts again in Friday
Yeah.
in the US. And my final question for you to continue our little competition, which by the way you are currently leading. I'm not going to reveal by how much, but you are
Wow.
currently leading. The question that I have for you is we've spoken about a few different teams, but the next actual game which is being played is the Phoenix Suns at the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a very, very, very important game for the Zion stakes for next year. Who is going to win this game? Meaning, who is going to lose this game and have one more shot at getting the number 1 pick?
Do they play in Cleveland?
They play in Cleveland.
Yeah, they play in
Phoenix
Cleveland.
at Cleveland.
Regardless, I think Cleveland's gonna win. The Suns are really bad.
So
Dude.
Cleveland wins the game, meaning
Yeah.
that Phoenix wins being one spot closer to Zion.
No. Cleveland wins the game, and Phoenix just stays where they are in a shit position, and we'll see what the NBA lottery says.
Okay. Well, it still improves their odds if the more game they lose. So in a way, it's also winning. Cool. All right. Well, great. Thank you very much. It was great to have you back on for another week and another
Yeah, man.
podcast. You can find us on Twitter at @the_4.play. As for the podcast, we are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Find us.
They're
And
everywhere.
we're everywhere, and we'll be back next week for another episode on Wednesday.
Yes,
This
man.
time, we exceptionally released this one on one day earlier. But thanks again for the time, and see you all next week.
Likewise, man. I had a lot of fun as usual, and I'm excited for the second part of the season. That's gonna be great.
Looking forward to it as well.
All right, man.
Cheers.
I'll speak to you soon.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
one.